name's Bill Hanisch. I own Hanisch Bakery down in Red Wing. February, I was out celebrating my birthday. By St. Patrick's Day, I was going, what the hell's gonna happen? And that's kind of where I was at with our bakery. We got, obviously, we all know what's going on, the COVID stuff. And by March, you know, everything gets shut down. We went from 42 employees down to 25. And I'm starting to go, what are we gonna do here? How are we gonna, you know, go after this? And first off, thank you for inviting me so I'm not doing a Zoom meeting, you know, because I sat in enough of those. But, you know, started having meetings with Retail Bakers of America, learning how, you know, the PPP program was gonna work, how it was gonna help us, you know, and we ended up shutting our coffee shop down, which seats 50-some people. It's still shut down because I started to do a remodel and it turned into a much bigger project than that, which I'm happy about, but also wishing it'd be over with. I own 2 buildings that are from the late 1800s. So we dug into it and found original hardwoods and tile floors and a lot of cool stuff. So that's why my coffee shop's still shut down. But the other thing is, getting people into work sometimes wasn't the easiest because of all this. So back to, you know, March, April, shut down the coffee shop. I had a schedule made out to go down to just 10 employees. I figured we could do that. We could keep the bakery running with 10 employees. We could sell to our wholesale accounts because we do a lot of wholesale. We do a lot of retail as well, you know, selling donuts, all that stuff. And I was watching a governor's press conference, and one of the local factory work owners, I would say, Bob Riggleman, he owns Rydell Skates. He was invited and he spoke at the governor's press conference, and then the governor said a lot of great things about Red Wing. And I was sitting at my computer, and I remembered being in one of the meetings with the retail bakers, and we're all, you know, all over the country, bakers going, how are we going to get through this? What are we going to do? You know, and I saw, I guess you could call it disappointment in Bob's face. I mean, this is a worldwide business that's been operating for 100 years, Patty?
Over 100.
Yeah, over 100 years. And you could just, they had to shut down. I mean, so listen to him. You know, I'm a Red Wing kid, born and raised there. You know, and then seeing all the stuff that, you know, our high schoolers had to go through, this light bulb went on my head, and I'm like, I'm going to make cakes for all these kids. I'm not going to charge them. You know, they're losing out on graduations. I mean, our kids didn't even get a homecoming because that got canceled. It's just everything. We all have, you know, been through that. And I was like, so I went to my social media, which I have a very, very good following on Facebook. It's just built over the time, and I put it out there that I'm gonna donate all the cakes to these kids. 7-inch, 2-tier, decorated filled cake. Normally it's $28 in our store. Put it on social media. All right, see you later. And later that afternoon, I got a phone call. Now, we have a lot of towns around us that we do a lot of business with. And so I get a phone call from an aunt, not actually anybody that has a graduating senior. This is the other thing. I don't have a graduating senior. This was just, I just want to do this for these kids because I was just, if I would have been 18 back then, I don't know what would have happened. Probably would have got arrested. But she goes, I want to supply all the cakes to Goodhue schools. Now, this is a small farming community about 15 minutes away. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's awesome. I'm on board. And she said, well, let me know how much I have to pay for it. And at that time, I'm like, well, I've come up with a price. And I was like, let's just do, I don't know, $18 on the cakes. And she said, oh, yeah, no problem, no problem. I'm like, okay. So next morning, I go to the social media and said, hey, good you kids, you all are going to get a cake too. We have an anonymous donor that wants to help you guys out. And I'm in Florida already. So I put that out there, and within an hour, I get a phone call. It's another lady. She's actually a parent, wants to do all the cakes for Cannon Falls, another town, about 20 minutes away. And I'm like, that's a lot of kids. That's like 100 kids. She's like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, I think I can maybe now do a little bit better price. And I said, well, $15 we'll say. Okay, $15, that should at least cover what we have to do and help us out a little bit. So I put that on social media. And then it started going. So one of the local newspapers out of Rochester, they did a story about it. And then I start getting phone calls and emails from Zumbrota, Minnesota, down to Rochester, Pepin, Wisconsin, Prescott, Ellsworth, all these towns are calling us on how can we do this. And I'm just going, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. So I started making phone calls on, hey, how can I get the packaging? How can I get the cake mixes to help us out? So I called Pillsbury. I called my rep at Pillsbury, and I said, look, I've got this thing I'm working on. And he goes, whatever you need, let me know. So they helped us out. Our packaging company, I don't know where he found all the containers that we needed, because I called him and I said, look, I'm going to need like 400, 500 containers. He goes, well, I got 100. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to help me out. But he did it. Trio Supply did an amazing job, and he found the packaging for us. Then it was logistics. So I now have about 8 towns that I'm up to. And I'm trying to do this so that not all these kids have to come to the bakery. I'm trying to figure out how do I get, now it's like 600 cakes. How do I get them to all these kids? So I start contacting the schools, and the schools start putting it out on their little networks. So we start coordinating with all their graduation stuff. Obviously, no one really had a graduation, but they had different things. And then soon I get a phone call from a whole bunch of little towns. I'm just going, I don't know what to do here. So we basically set up a list of all the towns, figured out how to get it to them, work it with them. The teachers were amazing, the parents were amazing, and we ended up doing 15 towns and almost 1,200 cakes. And we ended up on, I think, just about every news channel featured the story about it. I ended up on CNN, Today Show, Fox News. There's a story about that. And the internet is what really just made it blossom. I was shocked at how far it spread. Our Facebook page was engaging with almost 500,000 people. It just it went viral, and it was kind of fun, kind of draining at the same time. The Fox News thing, which was funny, was I have a bunch of buddies. They own Cops and Donuts in Michigan. They have about 7 locations, which they had shut down all their locations to 1 location. And they're a bunch of retired police officers that bought the bakery in their town. And it just blossomed from there. And I called them and I said, yeah, I'm going to end up on Fox News. And they said, well, you better have people there to answer the phone. And I said, what's that mean? She said, we'll call you tomorrow. Just make sure you have your Cops and Donut t-shirt on. I said, I'm not putting that on. So I do the Fox News interview via the the Zoom and all that fun stuff. And by the time I got done, the guy said, "Oh, I heard you make great coffee cakes down there, German style coffee cakes." So, "Oh yeah, we make great. Yeah, they're awesome." The phone starts ringing. For about 5 hours, our phones never stopped. They crashed my email. We ended up shipping almost 300 coffee cakes all around the country. And it was just, we still get people saying, "Oh, I saw you on Fox News." I'm like, that was like 5 months ago, I think. But it's just, it was really fun to do. And just to see how it brought, I look at it in 3 different avenues. First off, it helped the kids. It gave them, something that was memorable. I mean, I have a wall of thank you cards in our cake decorating room. It gives me chills just thinking about it. It was unbelievable to see us create this for the kids. The parents are the ones I think that appreciate it, I think, the most, just because they know where 20 years they'll look back, hopefully, and be like, that was pretty cool. It brought communities together. I mean, we had graduation committees contacting us. We had parents, friends, relatives. How can we help get these kids cakes? So none of the kids ever, this was a free cake to them. It helped us. Like I said, I was about to go to 10 employees. We held strong at 25. Now, granted, we were still down from the 42 we were at, but we kept 25 employees because it took 8 people working full-time hours to get this done, because it was about a 3-week window that we had to get this accomplished. And our cake deck, we had people that never decorated cakes, and they're just starting to learn how to do it. So it allowed us to focus on that when we had very little wholesale. The bakery was doing okay, but was way down, and the coffee shops closed. And the wholesale business was there, but so it allowed us to keep the people employed. So it helped the communities, it helped the kids, it helped us, and it just gave a great feeling to everybody. I mean, it was so fun to do. I did a town, and I'm drawing a blank. What was the town I did way out there with no bakery? No, why am I drawing a blank on it? They're the Awesome Blossoms. Blooming Prairie. This was my favorite story out of all of it. I had a woman contact me from Blooming Prairie. They lost their bakery to a fire in January. So they were an hour and a half away, which I should have looked that up on the map before I said yes. I just kept driving, and I'm like, yeah, this was not a good idea. But it really was. I got down there, and this woman, she owned a business. She set this all up, took care of everything, paid for it all, had her house set up with tables all lined up. Her friend, now they're both Blooming Prairie graduates, her friend set up a photo booth so the kids could get their pictures taken in their caps and gowns. They did a parade through town, and it was just awesome to see. They literally, now it's a small town, they went up and down every street with the fire trucks, whatever they could to draw attention for these kids. And then they all got to come have cakes. It was awesome, for a community that had lost their bakery of many years. I mean, the bakery had been around for, 50, 60 years and burned down to the ground. It was I drove past it. It's an empty grass lot, and it probably won't be anything other than that ever again. So for me, it was emotional, because I actually, that was the kind of the day I broke down, pulled over on the side of the road, just because you had so much, seeing all that, seeing how happy the kids were, seeing how excited they were, and just everything that we've been going through at the bakery. It was a day I needed. It was a Sunday. I got to get out of town. I got to take all this in, see the joy in their faces, and know that what we were doing was just, it was awesome. It really was. and it didn't really, we were in it. We were in the middle of it. So for us, it didn't really, I think, dawn on us how big this project was. I did get one of my favorite cards we got was from a couple in California. They sent us a picture of both their daughters. One graduated high school, one was graduating college. No graduations. They were having a graduation party on, I think, July 7th because they invited me. I didn't make that drive. But they sent us $500 and just said, we saw your story and we want to make sure that these kids, get what they deserve and are happy. We had a lot of businesses in Red Wing step up and help us out. Our local State Farm teamed up with corporate State Farm and they gave us $1,000. So it was just everything coming together. It just, and I don't think you can recreate that. It was just such a moment where, it was literally just sitting there watching a fellow business owner struggling, governor saying some good things, and me going, okay, I got something to do. I can step up, I can give back, and it worked out. I mean, it really was a fun thing to do. It was a lot of hard work. I still don't know how I made it all work. I mean, I really don't, because it was trying to line up 15 schools with graduations. One day I forgot about a school. So in about three and a half hours, our decorators had to do 67 cakes. They didn't like me that day. Or we did our last delivery and I get back to the bakery and there's a message from a guy in South St. Paul. A whole bunch of business owners came together and wanted to do cakes for all their kids. So I had to go back to the cake decorators and say, so I got this school that wants to do 250 cakes. You guys want to do that? And we did it. They did it. They're like, yeah, we'll do it. And they got it done. 250 cakes in 1 week, which is pretty amazing to get them all baked, get them all iced up, packaged up, and delivered. Thank goodness I have a really big Nissan van and they all fit. That was the next thing we were worried about. But that's how it started though too. Was I called my cake decorator, who is my ex-wife, so that made it interesting too, and said, look, I have this idea, and she said yes. So I don't think she ever imagined it was going to be 1,200 cakes. But going forward now though, it's really helped us out, that's we just came off of our best July ever for bakery sales. Obviously, there's no coffee shop sales, but there's no coffee shop anyways, really. So I don't really look at that as, I'm down a lot of money there, and that is what it is. But if I look at just my retail bakery, we get people coming in all the time saying, oh yeah, I remember when you guys did those cakes and all this stuff. And so it's really helped us out going forward. But I just, I got a parade together to do a parade through Red Wing because I saw the Blooming Prairie parade and I was like, I want to do this in Red Wing. How are we going to get this done? And so I led the kids. I was hoping to have a fire truck help me out, but apparently they got told no. So I led them through the town, which was definitely interesting. We led them. It was really cool because our downtown Main Street raised money to do banners. So all the kids had banners up. So we got to lead them right through, from all the way in our high school, which is way on the outskirts of town, through their neighborhoods. And it was fun because we started at the high school, we went past the middle school, we went past the grade school, and we ended up at the downtown area where all the banners were. And then we took them down to the park down by the Mississippi River, and they got to take pictures and all that good stuff. So it was great. And, it started, they did a parade around the school with all the teachers up there. So we really created something for these kids that was memorable, and for us it ended up good. For the town it was great. I still look back at it and just I love it. It was such a fun idea, and I'm a big giver back to Red Wing. I try to be involved in as many things as possible, but that one turned out to be quite the whirlwind. I didn't even know I could end up in a Russian newspaper. Not to bring up the Russians. It was online, but it was in Russian. I Googled it. Well, I also made it on Telemundo, so I don't know how that happened either. It was, like I said, we were all over the map. It was pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So that's my story. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
I think we'd love to do a little Q&A if you could real quick before we start to hear too much more. Anyone have any questions for Billy?
So I hope it's not necessary, but what's your plan for next year?
I've already thought about that, and I'm going, I don't know yet. It actually got brought up right away. Like, oh, are you going to do this next year? I'm going, I don't know. I was kind of hoping we'd be past this by that time. I don't know. We may do the parade again. That might be like part of the whole graduation ceremony, because that was really cool, because all the people came out of their houses, and the parents were involved, the kids were involved, families were involved. It was just fun, and it'd be nice to see, the whole community involved in it. At that time, it was, kind of some stuff, whatever, but it was fun to do that, and I kind of hope that stays part of it. As for the cakes, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know some of my employees are like, I don't really know about, but if we had more time, I think it'd be great. It happened so quick that it was just, like I said, it was literally about a 3-week period that we had to try to get out 1,200 cakes. And like I said, I look back and I'm like, I don't know how that all fell into place, but it just did. And it was pretty amazing. But we'll wait and see.
You want to comment about a couple of the other things that you've done on Facebook that help you build this following?
Well, I basically, I got onto Facebook because a bunch of high schoolers called me lame and old. And it just started growing. And I invested a lot of time into it. I've never had anybody really help me with it. It's just learning and processing how Facebook does things. I still can't figure out how to become Insta famous. I'm working on that. And I don't really know a whole lot of, I do Twitter too, but Facebook's what I focused on, because that's what Red Wing people flock to Facebook. And I think it's because they can gossip on there. It's great for them. But, so what I do is I focus on all my advertising money basically goes into our local radio or Facebook. And I do a lot of just growing my base, trying to get likes, trying to get people follows, but targeting. I target the metro area. I target Duluth. I target all the major metropolitan areas when I'm marketing, because Red Wing's it's a tourist kind of town. People are coming there, so that's what I'm looking for, is the people that are coming for day trips, that are coming to enjoy the area. So I do a lot of target marketing, keywords, and all that good stuff, and just I haven't done them lately. I've stayed off the old Facebook, but during the whole COVID ramp up, I do a lot of Facebook videos. A lot of videos, and they're funny, they're humorous. Sometimes they push the limit on some things, but but it can be a double-edged sword real quick, and as much fun as I have doing them, as soon as I get criticism from one way, I'm done with it. I don't need that in my life. So you have to walk that fine line, push the envelope a little bit, but yet, be able to, I've just really been able to tell my story. And that's what's been best about it, is, and do, I love what I do. So I think that comes through on how I do Facebook stuff. It's genuine. I love my community. I love what I do as a baker, and I just try to put that into what I tell in stories. And that's been my biggest thing is I am who I am. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I have a mascot of myself. Don't go there. Because I got nicknamed Billy the Bun Man. So now this guy is actually, I have a big mascot I wear. But it's for parades we give out 3,000 chocolate chip cookies. It's just always, to me, it's always been give back to my community. They're the ones that support me, and I look at that as any way I can support them back, I'm gonna do it. Whether I get in trouble from the person that writes checks or not, I'm still gonna do it. Because the person that writes my checks is my ex-mother-in-law. Believe me, we could be here forever telling stories about my bakery. We all get along somehow, don't worry. But it's just, that's what I've found on Facebook is being as genuine as possible and not as corporate. I see a lot of people that try to be corporate, try to, put these things out there like we're really advertising. I don't. I never have. I've never gone down that road where it's like, this is an ad. No, this is our bakery. I mean, it's a story to tell to me. I've had a lot of people say, well, don't post your personal stuff on your business page. Guess what? It's my page. I'm going to put some of my personal stuff on there. If you don't like it, don't follow my page. Because one of the issues is my personal page is maxed out with people. So I can't put any more people on my personal page. So now I kind of use the business page. Yeah, I know. But, that's always been my thing is just be genuine and then have fun with it. That otherwise, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to go down that. I'm a fun guy. I like to get into trouble sometimes, right, Patty? So, yeah. But that's really what it's been. I mean, but a lot of my marketing goes into Facebook and using the target marketing tools that they have and just, figuring that out and what works best for us. But yeah, I mean, I like doing videos. I don't really encourage everybody to do live videos. That can get you in trouble. Plus, if you have a crappy service, then you just look like it's never good. I've done live videos before, but I stay away from them now. Just because you don't really do that, but it's been fun. It's been a fun time. Sometimes you get caught. I did a video once where I got caught in there was a snowstorm in Red Wing, and that was I was outside right when it lightning and thundered in a snowstorm, and I'd never experienced that, but it caught me off guard, and that one got about 750,000 views on the old internet. Yeah.
Is your following all organically grown, or did you boost all your ads and videos out?
Oh no, there's a lot of advertising in there. Facebook doesn't let you do organic anymore. I mean, we grew really good up into about 15,000 to 20,000 fans on Facebook. That was a lot of organic. And then the old Facebook advertising thing kind of said, okay, you're now going to pay to play, which I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't think you can reach the kind of people you need to by really any other means. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if I want to target somebody that's getting married, I just plug that in and I start popping up where, for those people. But I mean, it's just, yeah, it's definitely not all organic. I wish it was. It would have been amazing. But there's a lot of, I use all the different advertising tools I can on Facebook. I've done some on Instagram, but I'm still not very good at that. I'll get there. I hit 5,000 Instagram followers. I was pretty happy. My kids still think I'm lame, but that's okay. Any other questions? What's our best-selling item? Everything. It's my favorite answer. But yeah, it's a great bakery. It's been around for almost 100 years, almost 100 years of connection to the city of Red Wing. So I'm the third family to take it over. The Piriuses, the Brashlers, and now myself. It's always been a last name bakery. So it's kind of fun to carry on that tradition. But I take a lot of pride in it. I think that's why I haven't opened my coffee shop, because I want to make sure it's perfect. I want to make sure it's amazing. But when you find 1930 tile floors, you find out it's not perfect. Or the floors. And they're not level. So that's me in the bakery.
Patty, do you just want to make a couple comments about some of the initiatives? I know I remember at one time, I don't remember who was offering it, but you were looking for businesses to come into town and you were going to.
Yes, well, we did that. I'll step back about, oh my gosh, we've been 3-5 years, somewhere in there. Red Wing was offered the Small Business Revolution through Deluxe Corporation. That was a huge deal for us. Billy and I and a whole team of people created a lot of growth in that, especially everybody's Facebook pages. And what Billy is saying he's done wasn't possible without him having that good base to start. And I was able to leap onto that and be like, hey, can you share this? Can you share this? And he's just great about that. So we go back and forth a lot on things like that. But that Small Business Revolution really gave our entire town a huge boost. Deluxe came in and they were just amazing to work with. They did videos of our town, they did videos of our businesses. Long story short, we came in second place.
It was rigged.
Actually,
It was rigged.
Actually, I was like, you know what? I think second actually came out better than first did.
It was
Kind of like
good.
American Idol, where first place, ooh, they had to go and follow this precise path, and we just got to still do our own thing and had grown so much because of that project. It was a ton of work. Another one of these where it's like, oh my gosh, how did we get ourselves into this? But it really boosted our business as well. And another program that you're referring to was a small business challenge, a retail challenge that was done. It actually, Chamber only participated in it. It was our downtown group that was the lead on that one. And they put together a package for any retailer that would want to come into town. And, it consisted of some advertising, some consulting. I can't even think of what else was in there. Some Facebook promotions, just all of us working together to help them promote. And then our Port Authority, which we're a Port Authority city, which is a really unique funding structure, similar to your economic development in these areas. But our Port Authority also put some money into that base to do some grants and some funding. So they were able to do some equipment loans for them. So we did two. We did a restaurant challenge and a retail challenge. So the restaurant, of course, the most expensive part is the equipment piece of it. So we were able to put together some funds in there with a 5-year forgiveness. If they stayed in business 5 years, we're happy to say they're still going. Times are tough. Every day is a blessing. They still are in business to this day, both of them, both the retail and the restaurant at this point. But it's been a very interesting road, especially lately. COVID has it's rocked all of our worlds, and especially in the chamber world. But I'm so fortunate. So when you were mentioning Bob Riggleman, Bob actually called me like the day COVID hit and went, Patty, what are we going to do? And it's like, well, he goes, we want to help. We want to convert our factory, which they are a huge world ice skate manufacturer. If you've ever heard of Rydell skates, Olympic style Rydell skates. And I was like, okay, let me get on the phone. So I called the governor's office. Of course, he didn't take my call, manage that. But Steve Grove did, deed commissioner. And so Steve and I talked, and I was like, hey, I got this company that's willing to convert their machines, do whatever they need to do, whether they're making face masks or whatever personal protection equipment, anything like that along those lines that they can do, they are willing to do that. And so then that connection went on, and then Bob's appearing with Governor Walz, and unfortunately they weren't ever able to actually reconvert that factory. But Bob sat on their advisory committee and helped them with a lot of the programs that came out as far as the PPP protection programs and such. So just those interesting connections. Red Wing is a very tight community. We all know each other. If somebody's walking down the street and they don't look familiar, I'll get a phone call. Hey, did you see that guy? The blah, blah, blah. He was trying to sell this. It's like, yep, probably not legit, you know? I mean, so it's that, we're that close of a community. We're about 16,000 people, which I was blown away by how big Forest Lake was. I had no idea it was that large. So we're able to really make those connections. We're very personable. We can reach out to one another. Billy and I chat a lot. We text a lot. It's like, what's going on with the blah, 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 you know, whatever. And it's like, okay, I'll check into it, get back to you. So all those connections just, you know, are making it even stronger and making things work in this crazy, crazy environment. We have lost a couple businesses. I suspect we will lose more. We just need to hold on and see what the future brings. And like you said, the future question, none of us know. You know, we're trying to make everything put into place of what we can do and keep things running as best to normal as we can. Do you have questions for us? Anything about Red Wing or business community? We answered all of it.
And one thing I did, seeing as I do have a very strong following, you know, on Facebook, was I basically reached out to every business because when we went through the small business revolution, I saw how it worked. I learned from that big time. So I basically reached out to mainly restaurants, because a lot of the retail was just shut down. I reached out to those restaurants and I said, look, you guys just start posting stuff and I'm gonna keep sharing it. I was posting in a week 120 to 150 posts a week. It sounds like crazy numbers, but I was sharing anything these people put out. I was sharing it and sharing it, and I told them to do the same thing. I don't care if they're your competition right now. You share their stuff, they're gonna hopefully share yours, and we're gonna build our network and our audience via Facebook. And I know we've lost 2 restaurants. I think those restaurants were at that point, because the ones that stuck it out and really fought through it, and we kept posting, and they kind of, you know, they went to takeout, they went to curbside, they went to all these things they had to do, but we just kept hammering all the things that we're offering, how we're doing it, and it really, I think, helped us get through it. And they've kind of fell off the wagon a little on it, and I kind of every now and then have to remind them, like, keep putting your stuff out there. That's what people are looking at right now. You know, we don't have a newspaper in our town really anymore. I mean, it's once a week. You know, so that's your avenue really in Red Wing is using that social media, using the networks there. So that was my biggest focus, was really trying to help these people keep going as well. You know, because I knew the reach I could get on social media versus, you know, if it's a restaurant with 1,500 people, you know, I'm fortunate in that, but I wanted to make sure I used that to their advantage, especially once I started getting the cake idea went, and I was seeing that, it was, you know, man, let's really start putting Red Wing out there, and let's making sure people know, you know, what's available in Red Wing. So when they do come down, they know that's available. You know, they don't just be like, oh, you know, where should we go, what not. It's right there in front of them. You know, because that's, and I really think it helped a lot of them out. I know a lot of them are very appreciative of it. You know, I even put my own money into some advertising to help them out. Some of them would actually give me some to promote their stuff. You know, because I'm at that. I sometimes look at Facebook as a game. You get to certain levels, you get to do more things via advertising. So I had more options than they had to promote their stuff. So they would, you know, pay me to do things, and I was more than happy to do that. You know, anything I can do to keep, I mean, really, these people are my friends. I've done business with them you know, I've owned the bakery for 13 years, but I've been there for 25. You know, so I know all the owners, I know the employees of these businesses, and I just did not want to see these places go down. I didn't want to see, you know, to me it was, what can we do to keep our downtown thriving? I mean, that was my biggest thing, was anything to keep these people coming to town saying, hey, Red Wing's down here, you know, we want to keep you coming down. You know, so that was one thing I did learn when we did the Small Business Revolution, was how important that social media and the sharing and creating that, basically your network on social media, and to grow that. You know, it was kind of, you know, I took a lot of pride in that. I mean, it was fun to do, and you know, like I said, I hope a lot of them will make it through. I know a lot aren't gonna. I mean, it's, you know, we've all been through this now for, I don't know, too long, 7 months or something, but yeah, you know, so.
One of the things we did was we ran action classes, several classes where we'd have our business owners come in and be like, okay, here's what you need to do. Because they were really starting at base one. Many of them were like,
many of them, yeah, they're
but I've never used it.
yeah. They didn't know how to do any advertising. They didn't know how to boost a post, sponsor stuff. They had no idea. And so it was, look guys, this is what you got to do, you know, and it worked out great for us. I mean, you just got to figure out how to make it work in your favor, and it'll work, you know. Sometimes you got to be an idiot. I'm good at that. So
that sharing of business tips. One of the other things that Billy did in the whole cake creation thing was, so our local Ace Hardware store said, hey,
yeah,
we want to join on. And so they gave out Yeti cups to every senior. And our pizza restaurant said, hey, we want to join on. So they gave out pizzas to every senior. And so
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they would enlist Billy in helping make that announcement. So they do a live Facebook, and it'd be like, and now seniors, we got another surprise for you. And the followings of that were just like crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna be next? Kind of what's the next item? So
yeah, the cake idea did steamroll. You know, I mean, when I got the phone call from Ace Hardware, Troy and Lisa are Red Wing people. They own the local Ace Hardware, took it over from Lisa's parents, and they actually went in with, I think it was 13 graduates from Red Wing that own businesses in Red Wing. And those guys all went in to chip in, like she said, to give them the Yeti mugs, which I was jealous of. Luckily, there was about 7 left, so I did buy one.
I never got one.
They're still available. I think there might be 4 or 5. But yeah, so they all got engraved Winger 2020 Yeti mugs for all the seniors. Doug Noreen up at Liberties, he gave them all pizzas. I mean, so yeah, it really steamrolled from there. I mean, that was, you know, one thing I forgot about. It was fun.
Part of the effort too. So then we had that going on. So then it's like, oh, I should create a list of businesses that are all Red Wing natives, Red Wing High School graduates, whatever. So I started on these lists and whatever, and I'm passing them to Billy and Doug, and we're trying to double check everybody because I'm not a native, and say, okay, how many businesses are there? We came up with almost 80 businesses that are still functioning in our town that have high school graduates, you know, behind them. And so that was also an eye-opener to us all, and went, wow, we got a lot of power here with that generation that's coming through and been in business for a while. So tap into that.
Very good. Thank you guys for
Yes,
sharing your story
have a
in the
good time.
spirit of sharing, and give one more round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,